As you may already know, I had the opportunity to go to the exclusive anniversary event of Hajime no Ippo, which was held at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan. In this event, there was an interview with the author and the voice actor of Ippo Makunochi, and here some extremely interesting things were revealed, which I will be talking about in this video. If you want all the other details about the event, I already uploaded a video to the channel, an event where I had the opportunity to meet and take a picture with the mangaka. Now then, let's begin with everything that was revealed in this event. First, I want to clarify that, of course, the interview was entirely in Japanese, but through a website, a person was translating everything into English in real time. Of course, being honest, sometimes the website would crash, at other times the delay and the applause from the audience made it difficult to fully understand the author's answers. But even so, I was taking notes of what I found most interesting. One of the questions they asked the author was whether he had already thought about the future of the Hajime no Ippo manga. And here the author talked to us about the current situation of the manga, which for him is very complex because his personality is so different from that of Takeshi Sendo that it is very difficult for him to express this character's feelings, which makes it hard for him to predict what is going to happen in the story. And remember that the author has already said before that he does not have the story planned from beginning to end. Rather, the characters themselves write themselves, so to speak. And that is why, a little later in the same interview, he also said that he has not had any writer's block and that it has not been difficult for him to reach the absurd amount of 1500 chapters, because the characters that were already built by him simply move forward and create their own story based on their personalities. And that is why the author is very confused about what is going to happen in the fight between Takeshi Sendo and Ricardo Martinez. In fact, they literally asked him that question as well, whether he had already decided the ending of the fight, to which the author explicitly said no, that he only has in mind a couple of dialogues and a couple of scenes that will happen in the future, but the ending itself and everything that is going to happen in the rest of the fight is something he does not have defined at all. It is something that Sendo and Ricardo Martinez have to decide on their own, which seems crazy to me. Another very interesting question they asked the author was which is his favorite chapter of the entire manga, or better said, which one he enjoyed drawing the most. Here, of course, I was expecting an ultra-epic answer, but the one he gave disappointed me a little, though it also made a lot of sense with everything we know. And his favorite chapter is the one of Takamura and the insect. Yes, when Aoki, to get revenge for what Takamura did to Tomiko at the beach, massaging the melons, checking if they were ripe, decided to put an insect in Takamura's food, causing our beloved Mamoru, when going to the bathroom, to end up expelling that giant cockroach, leaving him deeply traumatized. For Morikawa, it was a very fun chapter to draw, and he also believes it's a scene that everyone can remember, and that's why he loves it. And it's true, the moment he mentioned it, the entire audience started laughing. It's definitely a memory that remains in our minds. Another very interesting question they asked the author was, what is his favorite fight in the entire manga? And his answer really made me think a lot, and what he said specifically was the next one. And no, he's not referring to the fight that comes after Ricardo Martinez and Takeshi Sendo. He's referring to the fight he's drawing right now, meaning that at this moment his favorite fight is Sendo versus Ricardo Martinez, and some time ago it was Ryo Mashiba versus Marcus Rosario, and so on with all the fights in the manga. And it is because he has all his feelings and all his energy in that particular fight. He is living the hype week by week, just like us, but possibly multiplied by 1000, since he is the one who has to draw all the ideas and all the movements. So truly, it is an extremely interesting answer. A question that may be very interesting for us as foreigners was about what the author thinks of Hajime no Ippo having so many fans who are not Japanese, to which his answer was full of humility. He said that when he draws, he knows that he has chapters that he considers very good and that he really likes, and others that he does not like that much and does not consider to be that good. And that's why it's difficult for him to understand why his manga is so popular abroad. That was truly his answer. A very simple, very short answer. And it also makes me think a lot. Does Morikawa actually have imposter syndrome? Does he think his manga is not that impressive? It's as if he can't fully believe that people outside his culture like what he does. And considering it's such a spectacular work that has transcended generations, it really surprises me. Continuing with this topic of foreigners, he is very surprised whenever he sees photos of people who have tattooed scenes from the manga or the anime of Hajime no Ippo, since in Japanese culture getting these kinds of tattoos is not common, so every time he sees one, it makes him very happy and also impresses him. Also, of course, he really likes when tourists visit his boxing gym, JB Sports Gym, the real-life Kamogawa gym, for which we also have videos on the channel in case you haven't seen them. It always makes him extremely happy to know that there are people around the world following his work. At this point, the interviewer took an interesting turn, asking about the future not of the manga, but of our protagonist, Ippo Makunochi, who has been retired from the professional ring for quite some time now. So, could he tell us something about the future of this character? And George Morikawa, the author, gave an answer that left everyone with their mouths open. He said that an anime or manga in which the protagonist retires and never returns to the ring is something that is not going to happen. The audience went completely crazy. Morikawa asked us to wait for the return of Ippo Makunochi with great anticipation. Now, when is it going to happen exactly? That is something we cannot determine. He talked about it, but we are not sure about it at all. Here, I have already summarized the questions asked by the interviewer and Morikawa's answers. There were also some questions for the voice actor of Ippo, but honestly, they did not seem very interesting to me. From the notes I took, the most difficult thing for him were the sounds during the fights. You know, the groans, the shouts before punching, and when receiving punches, something like that. And of course, he said he would love to voice Ippo again in the future. So let's go with the questions from the audience that were asked to George Morikawa. One of them did not seem so interesting to me, but it was about Takamura's weight control and the use of shiitake mushrooms for dehydration, which Takamura would suck on to remove saliva. They asked whether this was something real or where he got the idea from, and Morikawa talked about a Japanese champion who used this technique in the past. And apparently, the person who asked was a known YouTuber in Japan, or at least someone Morikawa knew was a content creator. And honestly, I have no idea who he is. Also, a guy from France went straight to what many people care about. Will there be a new season of Hajime no Ippo? Is there anything to say about that? Morikawa simply said that for the moment there is nothing to comment on. Honestly, he was quite polite with his answer. He did not say a blunt no, there won't be a fourth season or anything like that, but I would say that by his body language, out of politeness, it seems he does not even have the idea of a fourth season in mind right now. So, I'm sorry for those who are waiting for the anime, including myself. It is not going to happen at least in the next few years, and we must accept that. And to close this interview, George Morikawa hopes that his manga will help attract many more fans to boxing, and not just fans of his manga, but that his work can be used as a tool to get more people to support real boxers. And of course, he was very happy to see so many foreigners going to his event and visiting Korakuen Hall for the first time, this boxing arena that has hosted legendary fights both in real life and in the manga. It was truly an incredible experience to be with Morikawa, to see him up close, and to have been able to attend this event, and of course to bring you everything that I thought was very interesting. Thank you very much for watching the video. Remember to subscribe for more Hajime no Ippo content. Good night.